But we want to finish this subject tonight because I'm getting I want to talk about something else. but we need to deal with this distasteful behavior as we are bringing into a glorious conclusion of the subject of origins of homosexuality. All right. Well, we don't see nobody protesting outside, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they're afraid. Anyway, let us go to Colossians chapter number 3 and verse number 5. Colossians chapter 3 and verse number 5. There's a whole lot of things going on, and Amber just telling me about somebody in Detroit just happened who got fired from his job as janitor, went in there to job with a gun, told everybody to get out, and you say his girlfriend was left in there, or his wife left in there? Oh, took his girlfriend hostage, shot her a bunch of times, and you say he burned the place down? Set the place on fire. And this just happened in Detroit. I do know that there was a 20-year-old girl who was gang raped, and she went out and hung herself. Just 20 years old. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in our world. Just let us know that Jesus is coming back. Is that right? He's coming back real soon. And as we get closer and closer to his coming, there's going to be a lot more of these type of things going on in our world. It seems that today there's not very many things that shock us anymore. We seem to have been desensitized to the horrific and concerning the things that go on in our times. And I think movies have a lot to do with it. Some of the movies that are made, the music that is going on, the video games. How is it a game where you're shooting and killing somebody? To where people think that even in real life it is a game. I was talking to my brother the other night, talked for about an hour, and we were talking about some of the gruesome murders that occurred in Jackson when we were young teenagers. And so I was looking up some of those guys that did those gruesome murders, and some of those guys are in the same prison where I'm working at. Didn't even realize it. How 2 guys went out and robbed the Tasty Freeze on Prospect Avenue in Jackson with a young teenage girl. I think she might have been 19, working, raped her, brutally killed her for $90. And all these type of things. So we were kind of, somebody said, couldn't y'all talk about something better than that? Well, he the one brought it up, and and I wanted to see whether these guys were still alive or not, and all these type of things. But a lot of times, because we're sitting at home and we're comfortable and just got done eating a good meal and sitting down watching TV or drinking coffee and tea, things are happening. Atrocious things are happening, and people are suffering, and innocent people are being killed. And so we should pray for people that don't know God, that they would know God so that they can come under the ark of safety, and especially our children. Can we say amen? Especially our children, our loved ones, and all these types of things. So Colossians chapter number 3, and we're going to read verse number 5. All right, let's read that. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth. Now we know what mortify means. Is that right? What it means? Kill, put to death, to destroy. And this is what Paul was telling us that we should do. Now, if the saints back in those days had to do it, we have to do it today, even more so today, where we have a society that is built upon pleasure and satisfying yourself. Everything that you see in our society is all about man. It's all about himself, deifying himself. Whether it's cosmetics or whether it is physical, or the society seems to be obsessed with itself, and everything is always about that person. Everything is always about me. When you look at, remember the Newtown shooting over in Connecticut, and so now they want to add some gun laws, some restrictions, background checks, eliminate high-capacity magazines, and all these type of things. But then you have people like the NRA and other gun owners that don't want that. They don't want more intensified background checks on people that want to buy guns. And of course, you can have a gun and have a friend that you want to sell it to, and sell that gun to that friend, not even knowing that their mental state or their condition or what have you. And so they want to stop that. Well, people that are gun advocates says that you're violating our Second Amendment rights. You're saying that, the Second Amendment says we have the right to bear arms, and you are invading that. Now, they're not trying to take people's guns away. What do you need with a high-capacity magazine, the same that the Army or the military has? You're not a military person, you're just a civilian. Because the killer that shot all those people in Newtown was using high-capacity magazines, 30-round clips, and all these type of things. Might even been more than 30 rounds, and all these type of things. But it just goes to show you that people are only concerned about themselves. It's just all about them. Even though that there were like 20 kids that were killed, and with the type of bullets and weapon that he had, the holes in these children, they say, were the size of baseballs. And I was talking with a person on my job, and I said they need to just ban all guns. He said, why? I said, why not? He got an attitude with me, I got one right back at him. Why not? And then he went on to start talking about, and of course I said, obviously you have a bunch of guns. Oh yeah, I have a bunch of guns. What if the government decides to rise up against us? I want to be able to defend myself. How are you going to defend yourself against the government? The government is going to rise up. The Antichrist. And you can have a 100-clip magazine. You ain't going to stop the devil. We say, man, ain't you seen some of these movies where they try to shoot some of these villains and they don't die? That's the devil. I said, wait a minute, Pastor, that's just Freddy Krueger or who was some of the other, Jason? Who's the one where you go to sleep and he try to kill you while you're in your sleep? You can't tell me that ain't where did that come from? I think I'll dream of a character that was burnt up when he was a kid, and he grows up and he terrorizes people in their dreams. No wonder some of our children, they go to sleep, they wake up hollering. If we're allowing them to watch those things, but I know we're not doing that here. Is that right? We're not doing that, but some parents are doing that. They sit up there and look at the horror movie, and a child sitting right there. But we've been desensitized because of, all of these things. We've got to guard what we expose our children to, our grandchildren or our nieces and nephews. If they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, about it, tell them that's wrong. And if they're, or mommy says I can do it, and if mommy's your sister or your whatever, go tell them you shouldn't be letting them do that. You're going to pay the price. My mother used to tell my sister that she prayed that her children will treat her worse than she treated her. And God heard that prayer. Because one of her sons came in there and got mad because he wouldn't give him a ride to the store and smashed the TV in with his foot, turned over and destroyed stuff in her in her apartment, And she had all rent-to-own stuff in there. And rent-to-own stuff is nice. Make you look like that you a queen up in there and got pockets full of money and ain't got a dime to your name. But once or twice a month, can we say amen? You know, and I'm sorry to hear that her health, she's going down in health. I'm sorry to hear that, you know, but when you leave God, things happen, you know. So we've been desensitized. So they don't care about what happened to those 20 kids. You know, they don't care about, potentially selling a gun to a maniac. They don't care anything about that. Just let me keep mine. It's all about me. And that's the way it is, you know, nowadays. You ever had a conversation with somebody and then all of a sudden they turn it around and it's about them? You know, you gotta say, look, this ain't about you. Where did you come in at? You know, you ever meet people like that? You know, no matter what you talk about, you could be talking about the weather, and then in some kind of way, it's about them. You know, did you know that I used to be a weatherman? What? You know, but that's the type of nature that we have. You know, want all the attention. You know, walk in the room, and the big spotlight comes on us, and the spotlight follows us wherever we go. You've seen that on TV. There's a lot of people like that. And one thing about it, if a person is arrogant or full of themselves, you know about it within the first few minutes of talking to them. You know, look in my book, look what I did. Yeah, I got this coming out, that coming out. You know, I was talking with a coworker one time, a lieutenant, and he was telling me about his wife and something that happened to her. And then I said, yeah, you know, my wife, she slipped, and while I was talking, he walked right out the room. And I'm standing there, I said, well, I guess he didn't want to hear about what my wife went through, but people are like that. You know, it's all about them. You tell them about being saved. Well, if I get saved, I can't do this. I can't, I. That's the nature that we have, you know. So, he says, mortify what? Therefore your what? Members which are upon the earth. Mortify. Put to death, kill. Now how can you mortify those things in us that are not like God? How can we mortify? Well, getting close to God is how you do it. Whether it's through, as Sister Keita said, fasting, you know, praying, taking time to read the Word, inconveniencing yourself for God, you know, coming down to the church praying, you know. These things build discipline in you and help you to be able to control the fallen nature. You know, if we don't ever fast, you know, then we're not exercising our spirituality. You know, I mean, just like you naturally exercise and have some profit, then there are spiritual exercises. Reading the Word, meditating, praying, coming out to the church sometime and pray. Maybe come early to service and pray. You know, doing things to build up the spiritual man, because we do a lot to build up the natural man. You know, I'm cooking greens today. What kind? I got all of them. Kale and collards, turnips.